from CapMass right there. That 1 percentage point higher than the median of 23% forecast that was polled by about 17 analysts. So we see food and beverage prices, they were up like 20.2%. Transport, 33.6%. Entertainment in Egypt, that was up by 48% on an annual basis. All right, our next conversation now, we're looking at cybersecurity in Africa. How's Africa faring, and what new challenges are we expecting in 2025? Well, join us for this conversation. We have Titilayo Dosimu. She's a cyber GRC professional joining me via Zoom. Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Ladi. Good afternoon. It's nice to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So, I'm talking about cybersecurity now. We all know the importance, at this point, but looking at it from the context of Nigeria's digital transformation, how key is this?
Can you please repeat that question?
Yeah, talking about cybersecurity at this point, we all know the importance, right now, securing our cyberspace. But, talk to me about Nigeria's digital transformation and how we can, leverage, cybersecurity to make this transformation a reality.
All right. Okay. I would start by saying that cybersecurity is actually one very important part. Is one very important part that is being undermined by not just the government, but by startups, also by multinationals, entrepreneurs, and it is very important part that cannot actually be underestimated. According to NCC, that's the Nigeria Communication Commission, there's a question that says, do you actually know that Nigeria alone loses up to 500 million naira annually to cybercrime, with SMEs and startups being most of the victims? And even though the EFCC chairman also sometime last year actually mentioned that in this part of the country, cyber convictions alone are actually like 3,455. And this actually brings us to the reason why cybersecurity is actually very important. And if we as a country, we need to go forward, considering the fact that the digital revolutionization that is happening in the country at this very point in time, and the fact that, okay, everything is being digitalized by the government, the recent passports that has been digitalized, even land registrations are being done online. We have to do NIN and every other thing online now. So if we actually want to move forward, we want to be on the likes of countries like Israel, Estonia, and the likes, then we have to take cybersecurity as very important.
Right. And talking about land registration, you don't want any hacker to, switch your land, that you bought with, your hard-earned money. But, with emerging technologies like AI and IoT, how can Nigeria stay ahead, of potential cyber threats, in the next coming years and decades?
Honestly, this innovations like AI and IoT are not something that is actually supposed to be underestimated, because there is a situation whereby there is a situation for a particular fintech whereby they used AI to clone the CFO, and in this situation, they just didn't clone the CFO. They cloned the CFO through video call and through voice by telling the financial secretary to actually send a sum of close to like 240-something million naira. And because this was only made possible because it was AI, and there was no reason for this person to actually, for this financial secretary to actually doubt that that wasn't his CFO, but rather it was being cloned. He actually sent this, and this cost them a whole lot of money. So you can imagine if something like this is happening to a multinational firm, a very good startup, a very good fintech, what do you think would happen to the likes of our startups here, the small entrepreneur that is probably in Ikorodu or something? What do you think would happen to them? So this is something we don't have to underestimate. We all have to just invest, and it's not an individual thing. It is supposed to be done in partnership, both the government, both the corporate bodies, individuals, everybody. Cybersecurity should be a joint responsibility. I understand how people undermine it, but honestly, it's supposed to be a joint responsibility. Even for IoT things, the way things are going, which it has to do with Internet of Things, everything now is being put on the web. Even our traffic lights has been connected to the web, medical equipment and all of those things. So you can imagine situations that, okay, maybe there is a cyber threat or there's a cyber attack. It could be actually used to hold the country hostage. And something like that happened in sometimes with National Bureau of Statistics, even though they actually declined it, but a post was made on their X page that says that, okay, there was something like that. After all, they came back to declining. But you can imagine something like that, which means it could actually affect the policy making. It could have an economic impact on the environment, and even sensitive national data could be exposed to these people. And in this kind of case, if we want to have it to get it back without having these cyber attackers to sell it online, then we have to possibly pay, because we don't want them to sell it to the dark web. So I think cybersecurity is something that shouldn't be undermined, and more so there should be awareness. There should be much more awareness. Governments should try and invest a lot into this aspect of the economy. They should try and train young ones, because I'm surprised at this day and time. So many people still ask, what does cybersecurity entails? What is cyber GRC? What is this? What is that? And I'm left to be like, okay, I have to start explaining and all of those things. So I think we need to do a lot of awareness. Cybersecurity shouldn't just be about the professionals alone. Even the mother, even the old woman in the village is supposed to be aware. As long as she has a smartphone with her, as long as she has something that can be connected to the internet, she needs to be aware.
Right. Everyone needs to know about cybersecurity. But we've been having outages recently, network outages. The latest one over the weekend was PlayStation network. Then we had a week before that a popular bank in the UK. So how much of these network outages have to do with cybersecurity issues?
With that happened over the weekend, you can imagine PlayStation is one of those multinational firms, and if you can imagine a big company like that having to be, because what was actually being explained, although they actually mentioned that it was just an operational disruption, but as a professional in this field, I wouldn't believe that, to be honest. Somebody else can believe that, but I wouldn't believe that, because I believe there was actually a vulnerability in their system that was exploited by the attackers. Do you understand? I understand why they could probably want to deny that, because for every cybersecurity, for every attack that happens or anything, they are supposed to report it to their customers. And if there's like a data breach or something, they are supposed to pay their customers and all of those things. Although I'm not sure that happens in Nigeria, because I've seen situations whereby there are data breaches and nobody's being paid, nobody's held responsible. Although maybe the company is being responsible, but then in situations whereby the customers, like the bank customers, when it happens to banks, are actually supposed to be paid, compensated for this act. But nobody, as far as I'm concerned, nobody has compensated me since I have been using my bank or something, and I'm aware of so many data breaches that has happened. So that takes us back to the power outage with PlayStation. So it's just something like that happened because there was a vulnerability in their system that was actually exploited. So if something like that can happen to a big firm like that, then it keeps telling us the reason why Nigeria as a country, why we need to invest, if we want to get to the global stage, if we want to maintain our stand as one of the fintech hub in Africa, as the fintech hub, not even one of the fintech hub, because we house fintechs like Paystack, Flutterwaves, OPay, PalmPay are not even to be exempted. So if we want to retain that space, if we want to move forward than where we have been today, then we need to take it as a joint responsibility.
All right, definitely. We'll keep tracking that space. Well, thank you. It was great having your perspective. Titilayo Odosumu, a cyber GRC professional. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.